Congress is so everlasting anxious to impeach somebody, let it impeach itself, Cousin Ed Snodgrass snorted the other morning when I went to his place to have coffee with him. I guess you're trying to say you're against that impeachment move that's going on in Congress now, I said. I ain't trying to say no such thing, he snapped indignantly. I'm saying that if they got grounds, let them go ahead and impeach Nixon. That's just fine and dandy. But at the same time, they ought to do the fair and honest thing and impeach themselves. What's Congress done now to rile you up so, Cousin Ed? Congress has now done just what it's been doing for the last 10 years. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why, it certainly has. Congress has hopped to and started the impeachment proceedings. Now that's pretty history-making move. Well, I would remind you that impeaching presidents ain't the only line of business that Congress is supposed to be in. It's got a raft of duties besides that one. It's what it ain't doing, and its other duties that's plumb disrespectful. Be specific, Cousin Ed. Darn tootin', I'll be specific. Congress ain't done nothing in the last 10 years but roll over and play dead every time a real issue looked it in the eye. And I don't see no evidence that it aims to change its ways. Look at all them things Watergate has turned up. What's Congress doing about them? Well, things like what? Things like the shoddy campaign spending. Millions of dollars poured out to elect special interest candidates. Everybody knows it's a sin and it's a shame. Has Congress done a single thing about it? No, sir. Things like reforming the practices that brought on Watergate. Congress made a move? Nasa. Or for that matter, what's it done about its own worn-out, good-for-nothing seniority system that allows some of the most incompetent political hacks in Congress to sit in charge of its most important committees, bottling up and blocking up any legislation that don't meet their personal approval? Congress done a thing about that. Or unfair tax laws that letting the real rich and the big corporations ride free, while the ordinary citizens get gouged. Congress moved on that? No, sir. You name the issue, and I guarantee you, I'll tell you what Congress ain't done about it. Now, don't forget, Cousin Ed, Nixon has vetoed a lot of that Congress has done in the last 5 years. Don't try to dose me with that old stale medicine. This country might have a Republican president, but it's got a Democratic Congress. Congress can't get away with blaming it all on Nixon. Them congressmen been playing possum too long. Well, maybe this year the Democrats are going to take control and really get on the ball. Them Democrats that's done in Congress are all sitting around waiting for some plums to fall in their laps next November. But I maintain they ain't done nothing to deserve the plums. I don't mind faulting Nixon for his shortcomings. Congress ain't got nothing to brag about right now. Cousin Ed, with inflation eating up everybody's incomes, with hard times riding their way, and with confidence in public officials at an all-time low, don't you think there's a pretty good chance that Congress will be forced to get moving on some of these problems? I ain't gonna hold my breath waiting for that to happen, son. Congress reminds me of an old overfed steer that's walked off into the mud around a mud hole, got bogged down to its belly. He makes a few grunts, moves to get out, then sort of settles down, too trifling to figure out what to do next. Take a team of mules and a cattle prod to budge him. Well, that seems to be a little rough on Congress, Cousin Ed. After all, most congressmen are anxious to hold their job, so they try to reflect what their constituents want. In that respect, it's actually the fault of voters if Congress fails to do its job. Oh, no. That old dog won't hunt. If I ask you for a job and you hire me to look after your business, and I promise to do it, and I let your business go to rack and ruin, you ain't going to let me get by with saying it's your fault for hiring me. You got a good point there, Cousin Ed. That's my whole point. I maintain we ought to take a good look at the whole picture right now. Just because Dick Nixon is waded off into Watergate, floundered, and is about to get himself impeached, ain't no reason for us to allow Congress to roll its eyes towards heaven and act pious and self-righteous when it ain't been picking up its end of the load. Just because you're mad at a man for selling you moldy cornmeal, ain't no reason to excuse his partner for selling you rotten tomatoes.